Hi students, this is Mrs. Marinelli with Keyboarding Business 270, and this video is on Unbound reports using the FBLA style. So there are different styles of reports: FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America. There's MLA, probably what your English teachers use. There's APA, which I believe Mr. Hinojosa uses, and there's a variety of others. Once you learn one, then the others are easy to learn. You just need to see what's the difference in the rules. So this is my title of the report, and it would start at 2 inches down. And if you have a secondary heading, you'd have a blank line in between. Notice that these are bolded, and the main heading is all caps, and this one is upper and lower. And then you would quadruple space. Not all reports have side headings and paragraph headings, but that's what you're going to be learning in your nuts and bolts. So this is an example of a side heading. It introduces the next section, which could be several paragraphs. So I'm just going over a few things of the report. I'm not going over all of it because it's explained really well in your packet. I am going over a couple of pages that are in front of your report one that I typed myself, that I added to the nuts and bolts. So when you're doing your nuts and bolts, the author has you put your name up at the top and a 1 for report 1. That's not the page number, and you would normally not have that. They're just doing this for nuts and bolts for your learning. So page 1 is not numbered. So when you're putting your name and a 1, that's for report 1. And that's in your header. Margins, remember default margins are 1 inch all the way around. Page 1 has a 2-inch top margin and 1 inch left, right, and bottom. The other pages will have 1 inch, except for endnotes and reference pages. They're going to be like the first page. Okay, this is an example of a side heading, just like margins, endnotes, FBLA Unbound report. Again, side headings introduce the next section. It could be several paragraphs. It could be one paragraph. This is an example of a paragraph heading. Side headings are upper and lower case and bold. Paragraph headings are not all uppercase. It's just the first word and any proper nouns, but they are underlined, but the period is not underlined. So for example, if I were doing a report on dogs, I'd have a 2-inch top margin. I'd bold in all caps my title. I'd quadruple space. And if I'm using side headings, I'd have my side heading at the left margin, and reports are double spaced. So you're going to set your spacing on 2 for double, which leaves 1 blank line. So here's my paragraph about dogs, variety of dogses, variety of dogs. And then here's another side heading of big dogs. So I have a paragraph heading of Labradors. When I talk about labs, maybe a couple of paragraphs. Maybe my next paragraph heading would be St. Bernards. And another paragraph heading Great Danes. Then I could have a side heading of medium dogs, and I would have paragraph headings of medium dogs. So it helps the writer actually stay focused and keep your topics together, and it helps the reader to go through and say, well, maybe I'm not interested in big dogs, I'm interested in little dogs. I'm just going to get to that section. Endnotes, it's page 9. You have the same margins as page 1. They are numbered. You single space, but you double between them. So you're going to change your line spacing. You'll use a first line indent for the body, but not for the title, or the title won't be centered correctly. And you will have the author's first name and then the last name. When you do the references, the citations, the works cited, whatever you call them, it's also margins of page 1, numbered, single space and double between, but you're using a hanging indent instead of a first line indent. And I'm sorry, these are not numbered. Let's get rid of that. And they're in alphabetical order of the author, or if there's not an author, in alphabetical order of the guide. Widows and orphans. An orphan is when you have one line of a paragraph or a side heading at the bottom of a page. We don't want that. So let's say just this was at the bottom of the page and the rest started on the next page. That would be an orphan. A widow would be one line or a partial line of a paragraph at the top of the next page. So let's say this goes together, but this paragraph is at the top of the next page all by itself. We don't want widows and we don't want orphans. So watch for that as you are creating your reports. And some students, I can't figure out what it is. They make one little click wrong or something is off, and they have a really hard time with the header or the footer or both. So if you have problems with the header or the footer, that is also discussed or written in the page before your report start in nuts and bolts that I typed up myself. So if you're having problems with those directions, which again, I don't know what students are doing differently, but FBLA style does not have a page 1. So if you get a page 1, that's not right. We have to fix that. So nuts and bolts directs you to put, again, I already said this, your student name in report 1. You're not doing report 2, that's for my other class. But that's not the page number, so that's okay. You don't want a page number for page 1. That's the report number. So go through these steps if you have trouble with your footer. That's listed in your packet. Go through these steps if you have trouble with your header. So I had a student who, I don't know, 2 years ago maybe, came up with this method to use, and it seemed to work for those who didn't get it correctly the first time. A different option worked for them. So again, this is in your packet, so I don't need to go through this, but I wanted to make sure just to have a little bit of a summary of your report before you get started. So reports are your last nuts and bolts documents, although your packet has many other types of documents for those of you who want to learn some other business documents, how they should be formatted. And I will not be teaching Business 271 next semester, so that's why I gave you the whole packet instead of just half the packet to purchase. So good luck, and I will probably not have any more videos. This will be your last video. You guys have made it. Make it a great day.